Well, hello everybody. Welcome along to the latest episode of Kiddy Massive. Everywhere we go, it's Kidderminster Harriers fans podcast with me, Nick Hatton. Delighted to say the man charged with getting Harriers back to the National League joins us on this latest episode. It's a very good evening. It is the eve of the new National League season. Phil Brown, how are you?
I'm very good, Nick. I'm very good. Yourself?
Yeah, very well, very well. Thank you for doing this. Um, the first question on this podcast, whoever you are, however long you've been at the club, whatever the guest is, the first question is always the same, and it is, what does Kidderminster Harriers mean to you?
Um, 5, 6 months ago, I would have said nothing, which is brutal, of course, because you need to have some kind of connection with every club that you go to, you visit, etc., etc. You know of league wise, etc., etc. But having met with Richard Lane and Dean Holsworth, and then realised very, very quickly that the club was a very well run outfit. Big club in the non-league. Everybody tells me, I had Brian Horton reassure me where he was concerned. He said one of the biggest clubs in non-league, and Brian being from that neck of the woods as well. Used to talk about the days when he was playing for Hednesford and he played games against Kidderminster. There were proper battles and this, that, and the other. So I quickly got to know that side of the club, and obviously Sam Allardyce from this part of the world as well. And I was getting to know very quickly, having met Richard and Dean, that I was getting more and more dragged in. I was getting drawn to the club, and then get offered the job, and then almost survive. And we didn't survive, and that was the bad part of it, But almost survive, and I was getting a lot of plaudits for just the battling qualities that we were showing. And sometimes you go into football as a coach or a manager, and you look. And do you want to be a purist? Probably yes. What does a purist mean? Well, it depends on where you're at and how much budget you've got, and how you can cut your cloth accordingly. Do you want to be known as a fighter? Absolutely. Do you want to know, as a manager, that this team always has spirit, desire, gumption, all of these great words, and all of them were part and parcel of my decision, because every person I was meeting, whether it be a supporter, a player, part of the backroom staff, everybody had sort of a passion about the club that was sort of unprecedented anywhere I'd been. I'd been to Hull City and got them in the Premier League and this, that, and the other. But even, the size of the football club, you're looking at passion is something that you can measure from an individual perspective. And then if you can galvanise that and bring them together, then you've got a great chance. And I thought from minute one that I've got a chance here. I've got a chance of getting this club going. And if you do, I think it'll be a great football club once again. Don't tell me it's not now, but we're down in step 2, as it were. Do I want to be there? No. Was there anything on offer? No. I had plenty of work with regards to the BBC and TV work and radio, etc., etc. So I was going along nicely, keeping my hand in or keeping my eye in where football was concerned. All of them things were in place. People were saying, are you retired because you're 64, 65-year-old? And I'm saying no. And I'm not even saying there's one gig left in me. I'm just saying I'm going to die on the job. It's one of them. And if that happened to be in a Kidderminster Harriers dugout, don't get me wrong, I don't want it to be. But if it happened to be in a Kidderminster Harriers dugout, I would feel fulfilled. There's something about the club that's likeable. There's something about the club that's really got something that I can attach to, like some kind of identity. Even whatever level you're at, it's got that identity, and people know what Kidderminster Harriers are all about. And I just want to be a part of that, and I want to enhance that if I possibly can.
Yeah, I just think we're just a little bit different. Even as simply as the name, there's no other Harriers, is there out there?
Yeah,
The kit, thankfully, is back to the red and white halves again. That was sort of, that was the symbol of Kidderminster Harriers, the red and white halves, and it gets under your skin, I think. So it's clear that
yeah.
that's happened to you. So you sign on for another 2 years. I think one of the first things in your first interview that you said after signing a new deal was that you wanted to put things in place behind the scenes to kind of make things more professional. What were those, and how have you changed them?
Well, strange enough, it's almost pinching from within, because there was a lot of things going on that were bringing money into the football club and bringing attention and people through the turnstiles, and people actually understanding the club more than what I did. And take, for instance, the academy. I was training last year at something like 25% of my squad was from the academy. It was from the production of this education system that Kidderminster Harriers could boast. And I was thinking, wow, the Premier League can only boast 2% success rate from a Premier League academy and into a first team in the Premier League, 2% success rate. We had 25. So there was some, if you just do numbers alone, there's something right about the football club. And then you look a little bit further into it and delve into it. And obviously the training ground is something that everybody bar none. We had Aston Villa there last Thursday. Everybody bar none come in and go, wow, what league are you in? 14 pitches, 55 acres of land. It's just phenomenal. There's something really good about the football club in the background, but I think it still needs lots of little fine tunes, just like when you've got an old car and you're trying to get a tune out of it, an old car. It's similar to that. You can actually make it that brand new car again just by tweaking something. You don't have to absolutely overhaul everything. You don't have to get rid and start anew. I thought there was a lot going on at the football club that was very likeable from a manager's perspective, and I just wanted to keep that going and enhance it if I possibly could. And it's slowly but surely getting there.
And Neil has obviously stayed on as well. Talk to me about your relationship and with him and why he's so important to you.
I've always, from the day that me and Macca really, we locked horns many a time when he's been at various clubs. When he was at Everton, I was at Bolton Wanderers. We had a couple of clashes there, and that's from a playing perspective. And then all of a sudden, I was assistant manager under Sam at Bolton Wanderers, and we were looking for a first team coach, and Macca came in and blew us away on the training ground just with a style that was very likable. It was in your face, but it was very educational at the same time. And from that moment, I thought, I want to work with this guy. Anyway, when me, Sam, and Macca had a sort of a backroom staff at Bolton Wanderers, that was to be, everybody desired it. That we had sports science coming out of our ears, and we were nurturing every avenue to try and get 1% out of each player or 1% better. And we were exhausting psychology, you name it. We were going down every lane. And myself and Macca and Sam were going forward very, very smoothly and very quickly. Anyway, when that came to an end, I went to Derby County. As you see the strip behind me, Macca went to Crystal Palace, and Sam went to Newcastle United. Bolton Wanderers went pear-shaped after that to a certain extent. But we were off and running, taking everything that we had learned, taking everything that we were actually entrenched in, 5 or 6 years together, which was just a brilliant time to be at Bolton Wanderers. Long story short, you take whatever you've learned on with yourself, and then you come and you somehow bump into each other again, whether it be in work or out of work. You're always involved in the footballing side of things. And I just started seeing Macca more on the circuit and getting jobs here, getting jobs there. I thought we need to work together again. We worked together at Swindon. We worked together in India. We worked together at Barrow. And every time we did, it was that coaching quality that he used, that absolute attention to detail that he used to bring on the training ground every day, and a real positive voice, whether that be a Geordie voice, and maybe that's what I'm attracted to, or whether it was just Macca's intensity that I really liked and I could work with. That's why we're still working together, and I really enjoy working with him.
So obviously relegation last season, really bitter pill to swallow for everybody. You stay on, and I think many people would think that a side that gets relegated for the following season, a huge rebuild is needed. That's not been the case. So what have you seen in those players that you've kept on, and what boxes have they ticked for you?
The ones that I kept on were really, I wouldn't have said just passionate about the football club. I think they really cared about the football club. They cared about their own careers, and one or two has to be said. I know spring chickens, Amari Morgan-Smith, for instance, but Amari applies himself. At the end of this 6-week period of pre-season, I've made him captain yesterday. That was announced within the changing room, and the response that came from the changing room, I just knew that moment I'd made the right decision. And I had probably 6 or 7 other candidates that I could have selected, many, many times over the 6-week period of coming together. Ashley Hemmings, Alex Penny, Reece McNally. We had a backbone of the team. Caleb Richards, resigning of Andy Dibble's son, Christian Dibble, I thought was an absolute no-brainer. The fact that he was almost Golden Glove Award in a relegated team in a higher division, it was a no-brainer. And he brings that level of assuredness as a goalkeeper, certainly stature with that in mind. But young players like Zach Brown, I was desperate to hold on to because I always thought there was something there where Zach was concerned. But then you go into the new signings and the way they've come in, and Joe Fawkes has played at the football club before, and Joe, he's a lovely character. He loves football, really loves football, but he loves it in his own way. And I could work with Joe all day long. He brings a nice, calm sort of way of playing, but also that level of possibly could play higher up for sure. I think it's an absolute steal that, you know, I can't believe Walsall let him go. And we nipped in at the right time. And the fact that we had that relationship with him before, he wanted to come back to Kidderminster. Again, emphasis on the Kidderminster Harriers thing. But the list of players goes on and on. You know, the creative part of it. There's certain players that we're hoping are going to open the door, not in the manner of which we tried to open the door last season towards the end. And what I mean by that is we were more huff and puff. We were more direct. We were more probably getting into the final third a little bit too early, too quick.
Yeah.
And then consequently, our strikers are not in position when the ball's coming into good areas. We're missing opportunities to even get a strike on goal, you know. And what I mean by that is I just needed to slow things down a wee bit, you know. And everything was 100 miles an hour. And we brought in Malik Cardigan and Maz Kuya. And they've got that lovely, I just wish I'd had it as a player. When you look at them, they look as if they're good players. You know, they glide across the grass. You know, I was like, whoa, you could see me coming and hear me coming a million miles away. But they're just very, very gifted players and gifted in the way they're blessed in human movement, actually. Luke Summerfield, you know, I hope I don't forget any of the new signings, but Luke Summerfield's come in and you talk about assuredness and calm and actually, what a player. What a player. This lad can keep the ball. This lad can pass the ball. This lad sees a pass. But he's 36, 37-year-old. And that's probably the only challenge where he's concerned. So David Davis coming in, who's got, you know, higher pedigree than a lot of players at this level. And Digger's been out of football for probably 12, 14 months. And you've got a hunger there. And you just want to let that hunger go. That's, you know, but he's in the same position as Luke Summerfield, but sometimes we'll play together, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to like about, you know, Paul Downing coming in and putting a little bit of rock to the back four. He's got another sort of piece to the jigsaw that we didn't have last year. And the final piece, I think, where pre-season was concerned, I wanted to get a striker in to test Amari and to test Hemo. And put them on their toes because I think that's going to be a decent strike partner, which has been proven at this level before. And all the supporters were probably looking at the fact that we'd let Kieran Phillips go and we'd let Goldo Mateo go and we'd let 2 or 3 strikers go and we hadn't replaced. But we brought in Ben Beresford from Birmingham today, which has been announced. And I looked at the lad today, and sometimes I'm going to be brutally honest with you. Sometimes a player walks in the office and you've done all the homework and you've done all the scouting reports and this and the other, and you've done the deal and the money's that, you know, it's right. I've always been a manager that needs to see the whites of the player's eyes before he puts pen to paper. Yeah. And many a time you get put off by something. It could be a word, it could be a body language, it could be anything. And this lad walked into my office today and I thought, wow. Stature-wise, wow. I don't want to build him up too much because he's got to get ahead of Amari Morgan-Smith, who's going to, you know, he's been made captain. He's going to hit the ground running. He looks like he's come back in better shape than ever. And we look like we're okay in the final third, and the better chances are going to come along, fingers crossed. But Ben Beresford walked through the door today, and I've gone, wow. I like the looks of him. I'm just wondering, the players must be thinking, hello, we've got something here. But let's see. It's been together for 5 or 6 weeks, and the final day of pre-season, we get another player in that will tick a lot of boxes, I'm hoping, where the supporters are concerned. He's pleasing on the eye. I'm hoping he's pleasing on the team sheet in terms of goals, because that's what we need.
Yeah, what sort of player is he? I went on YouTube today, did a bit of a Google and saw his video. He scored got a decent return last season, didn't he? And he seems like quite a finisher.
He came in the office this morning And he said to me and Mac, I both sat back and went, wow, just the size of him, 6'2", 6'3". Everybody thinks that's crash bang wallop. He's technically gifted. Blues wouldn't have had him if he wasn't. Nottingham born and bred, very confident lad, holds himself well. He adamantly said straight away, I did score 17 goals at this level in struggling teams. Well, you get the ball into an area, I score my goals in the box. For me, that is music to my ears. I want players that are going to get the ball into dangerous areas in a penalty box, and then hopefully we'll see him come alive.
How has the recruitment worked then? Because I think a few fans have sort of asked that question. Really, is it you identifying players, Neil identifying players, or is it down to Dean Holdsworth basically, and then you give it the okay?
Always, and Dean will back me on this. It'll always be myself and Neil, but with all due credit to Dean and the backroom staff that we pulled together, and the chairman for allowing us to do this, because when you take a big chunk of your budget and you're using it for backroom staff purposes, he wants to see an end product. Of course he does. He's a businessman. But we've got a chief scout now. We've got an analyst who doing a lot of hard yards without anybody seeing. They go to games, they analyse videos, they put players in front of me and ask me if I've saw them. With all due respect, I haven't been at this level. And the answer is probably no. But of the 7 players we've brought in, we can all hang our hats on different players. Like Neil McDonald, at Walsall, he's worked with Joe Fawkes. And straight away, I'm looking at a character. What's he like? So the character reference comes from Mac. He's worked with him as a manager. Yes, he's been to Kidderminster Harriers before, and everybody liked the style of play. But I want to know what his character's like. When push comes to shove at Alfreton on Tuesday night in November, when there's 6 inches of snow on the ground, you don't want anybody hiding in the toilets. You want them out there in the floodlights, in the thick of the action, and putting their proverbials on the line. So the character was always going to be a bigger reference than the football. But when we've then taken David Davis on trial, and he was a no-brainer, we then, we took 2 or 3 players like Reece Devine. We took them on trial, and we've got the character reference straight away. They've come through trial periods for 2 or 3 weeks and still been at the football club and still want to be at the football club. They tick a lot of boxes as well, Luke Summerfield I'd seen and not worked with before, but worked against many times. And he was always one of them as a manager on the opposing team. You look and went, he's such a thorn in your side because he keeps possession and he maintains possession, but he can also see a pass. So there's certain things where we've all come together on, and there's certain things that if Dean Holdsworth said to me, I'm telling you, Phil, this player's it's a no-brainer. I know the player. I've worked with the player before. Certain things like that I go with. That ain't a problem. I don't have one of these egos that are going to say, no, it has to be my choice. It has to be my... That's for dead managers. It's not for me. I've got to take all the information in. And yes, have the final say. If people want to call it the final say, absolutely. But, I'm really been pleased with the backroom staff. I've really been pleased with the fact that we've probably got now 6 or 7 people that I can turn to and ask opinions of. And I'll get an honest answer.
You talk about style of play then. Is that one of the reasons that Gold Mateo left? I think a lot of fans were excited when he arrived before you came to the club, of course, because he'd made quite a name for himself at this level previously with Kings Lynn. Didn't work out at Fylde. I think he started okay when he came to us, and I don't think it's an unfair comment to say he probably should have done better than he did in the games, the last sort of 12 games or so. So what was the reason for you not fancying him?
I went toe to toe when I first arrived. I had a style of football that I wanted to hit the front man, and I was playing a 4-3-3 or a 3-5-2, whichever. I wanted to get a couple of strikers up there. Whenever I was playing 2 strikers, I tried Gold on Mateo with Amari, and it just wasn't working. They were actually coming together. They were clashing on the pitch, so that wasn't working. So it was either going to be one or the other. So whenever I went from 3-5-2 to 4-3-3 or 3-4-3, which were 2 or 3 of the systems I was playing, the one down the middle, which was the number 9, Amari won that battle. I'm not being disrespectful of Gold or Mateo there. Amari just won that battle. It was an internal battle that was going on a daily basis on the training ground. And every day that Amari was ticking the box, and Gold every so often flattered and then got his opportunity. But not enough to maintain that opportunity or maintain the running in the team. And Amari gave him a couple of chances, to be fair, at the very start. I started off with Amari in the first game, and I put Gold in the second game. And, you know, that was down to the fact that Amari had a problem off the field of play, and he couldn't actually play in the second game. So there was some good opportunities, but one opportunity, I mean, one game is an opportunity. And sometimes the answer was, well, I've only had one game. Well, that's enough. Enough. How many chances do we need, you know? If somebody was saying to me, I've got a chance to play well in a game of football and I'll be a first choice, that'd be the game I'd play well. And then I'd play well in the next game. As a defender, we used to always say you're allowed one bad game in 10. Striker can have 9 bad games in 10 so long as he's putting the ball in the back of the net. That's a done deal. So when you've got them ratios, as an older manager or a more experienced manager, I always remember them ratios. And I always come back. It doesn't come back to haunt you. It comes back to educate you. And if you draw a line with regards to the education and say, that'll do for me as a standard, that would do for me. And I've kept them all the way through my career, and I'm still in football, so there must be something I'm doing right.
So his previous reputation at this level was not a factor. You've got to go by what you see, have you?
I think the team that he played for played in a certain way, and Gold was the number 9, and that's all there was to it. Maybe if Amari hadn't have been at the football club, Gold might have been the best striker that we had because he was the only striker. I like players that play with pressure. I like players that play under pressure. I like players that actually, you know, when Ben Beresford walks through the door this morning, unfortunately, a little bit too late to be involved on Saturday, when Ben Beresford walks through, Amari Morgan-Smith will look at him and go, okay, another challenge, no problem, I'll win that. And he has that attitude. Ashley Hemmings probably has that attitude. Seb Thompson, only a young lad, first one I speak to, as soon as Ben Beresford comes in, I say to Seb Thompson, look at that as your challenge. You've got to keep ahead of him because you're ahead of him at the moment.
Yeah.
You've got to keep ahead of him. And that's the challenge some young people just get wrong. You know, they just don't quite say, what's he brought him in for? I mustn't be doing well. I need to go and see the manager. No. Just keep on proving to the manager that you're better than him. And that's the kind of challenge I like in my football club.
How are you going to utilise Ashley Hemmings this season? Because I think he played pretty much probably 5 different positions, I think, last season. What are your thoughts?
Brilliant, honestly. I was really looking at Ash and I was thinking, what is his best position? I honestly don't know. Being on the pitch is the answer. He's got a lovely manner about him and he's come back uber fit. Honestly, let me tell you, he has come back in a position as a 33, 34, whatever his age is. And it's just a number. And Ash has proved that. He's gone away from the football club, having been relegated, and absolutely battered himself. His body in gym, on the track, in the pool. He's just really went after him. He came back in unbelievable condition. Less than 5% body fat. You know, his mentality's been bang on. And it was the moment that we offered him the deal. A new deal, and he went, right, I'm gonna be your number 1 striker. I'm gonna be ahead of Amari. If not, I'll be in the team as a left back. I mean, how many people can actually say that to a manager? If I'm not playing up front, I can play left back. You can play right wing back. Dear me, just get him on the pitch. That's the main part where Ash is concerned. He gets down at times when maybe his delivery's not good. He has a shot that goes high, wide, and handsome. He gets down on himself. And I just want him to understand that that's okay. You know, put it on the wave behind. Let's address the next wave. And I think he's learning to play with a little bit of a smile instead of it being too much. And if that is the part of the job that I brought to the party, then I hope we see him smiling next year.
Yeah, there were occasions last season that weren't there where he was probably a little bit too selfish, I think, at times, which is probably the pressure of trying to get the club out of relegation, isn't it? I suppose that's down to the main reason. But do you ever work with him in those situations, or do you just let him be as he is?
I think you've got to. I think your understanding of what the coach wants, and he's an intelligent footballer. He knows what I want. He knows I want better chances, and better chances come with composure. Better chances come by keeping the ball in a certain area of the field, and I think he knows now that we've got the players to do that. I think there wasn't enough threat on Ash's position last year, even when I turned up, because of the amount of positions that he can play in. So when he was playing, he was happy, you know, and I think we need to now individually nail him down to if Caleb Richards is pulling up trees at left back, then he's not going to get that position. If I've got a right fullback that's pulling up trees, Joe Folks, for instance, he's not going to get that position. He's going to get one of the midfielders because they're all pulling up trees. If he focuses on what he's doing at the moment and doesn't wait for an opportunity to somebody fall by the wayside, then we'll have a proper Ashley Hemmings. And I honestly see him as a good number 10. But being on the field of play is the best position for Ash.
Yeah. I mean, he was probably the main reason that we got promoted last time we were in this division, of course. That
Correct. Yeah.
Ridiculous run of 9 wins in a row. Russ.
That's not falling on deaf ears with me, don't worry.
Yeah, I'm sure he's mentioned it to you completely.
Absolutely, aye.
and you talk about competition for places with the front two. How much competition has Jack Lambert got to get himself into the team? You say about Malik and obviously Maz coming in as well. I was chatting with a Harriers fan yesterday about what he might do this coming season, and he thinks Jack will be absolutely integral. I think he's got a job to do, maybe to get in, and Pete, who I was speaking to, are more than happy with the competition in there.
Well, I brought in players in Jack's position because the main part of last season is, and I say this to everybody in recruitment, when you're looking at a squad of 20, say we had 20 players last year, you're not looking to bring in players to replace 17, 18, 19 and 20. You're looking to bring in players to replace 1, 2, 3 and 4. And if they're your 4 best players, they've got to go down the pecking order because you're bringing in better quality than the top players. Now, that's a proper recruitment policy. So we brought players in to replace Amari Morgan-Smith, to replace Ashley Hemmings, to replace Jack Lambert. And even when we go to the back, to enhance people like Reece McNally, can't guarantee himself a position. Caleb Richards, hopefully, can't guarantee him. That's the reason why we bring in the likes of Reece Devine and Paul Downing, etc., etc. But when Jack Lambert is comfortable, he's not a great player. We need to keep Jack Lambert hungry. We need to keep Jack Lambert on his toes. But he hasn't had the best of summers, and he came back not in a great frame of mind because of the amount of time off that he'd had, and he hadn't had the treatment that he deserved in his own head. Anyway, I've addressed that situation. Jack's now been through the mill over the last 3-4 weeks. He missed a little bit of a chunk of the first part of pre-season, so that put him behind everybody, and he's been playing catch up. Consequently, he's now caught up, but not in the manner of he can start the game on Saturday. And what I've done is I've put 3 players. We've got an under-23s game against Tamworth, and we know how hard that game against Tamworth was in the pre-season friendlies. An under-23s game against Tamworth tomorrow, and Jack, Samson and Noah will be playing in that game to get another 90 minutes under the belt, because I don't want them to lose what they've just got. The last 4 or 5 weeks is so important, certainly to Jack Lambert, for his sharpness. And the most important part of Jack's sharpness is the sharpness of his mind. And if he is on the training ground and on top of that training ground, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, he's a no-brainer. He's first on the team sheet. But at the moment, he's just a little bit behind everybody.
I think everybody's excited by the attacking talent that's in the squad. Before you came in, obviously goals were an issue, and we were obviously losing against by 1. It was such a frustrating time, but we didn't have that array of attacking talent that seems to be at the club now. So I think certainly most people I've spoken to are really excited about the attacking talent and the style that's going to bring.
Well, I'm hoping, Maz Kuya has embraced everything we're throwing on. I'm hoping Malik, again, I'm hoping upon hopes that Zach Brown can come through what we just put him through and be robust and resilient and strong-minded. And I know that last part is definitely in place. He wants to have 46 games. He wants to be a 20-goal midfield player. We have to have that little bit of difference in midfield to try and get them goals, to try and get that creativity, but also create a license for players. If you've got a number 4, a number 8, a number 10 on your back, get in the penalty box. You've got a license to go in there, because I want difference in that midfield 3 that can cater for 1 getting in the box, cater for 2 getting in the penalty box if necessary. We've got delivery from set pieces this year, which I thought was hit, miss, and maybe last year. There's lots of things that we're trying to piece together, but the small bits that we're piecing together we'll see a bigger and better picture next season.
Yeah, you're clearly a big fan of Zach Brown. How important is he for you this season? And I ask that because sometimes he was a scapegoat, I think, at times amongst fans for certain results. I think some fans think he can maybe bulk up a little bit. Sometimes he gets a bit brushed off the ball a little bit too easy, but I guess that's not his game to a degree. So, in your eyes, what do you see in him that makes you pick him pretty much week in, week out?
Well, I think Zach is a 13, 14 kilometre man in a game of football. Now, 13, 14 kilometres and just running around like a headless chicken, forget about it. I'm not interested in that. I want
Yeah.
the high intensity stuff. I want the close, the proximity to the opposition. And what you have to do to get that proximity is you have to hit high speed runs, you have to hit sprints, you have to get inside the final yard of somebody in possession. Zach does that. And he does that with such an aplomb. It's so easy for him. So the next part of Zach's game is when he's got that, retention of ball, getting the penalty box. If he keeps on getting in the penalty box and working with Neil McDonald, and Macca is bringing a license in the final third, hopefully, that's going to bring goals from midfield. So you're always looking at your number 9 and your number 10 and what kind of return they're going to get. But if you can get one midfield player, get 15, 20 goals, my word, they're going to be certainly in the top 1, top 2, top 3 goal scorers. If you're in the top 3, you're talking probably 50, 60 goals from 3 players. And that's where the license for Zach, it's to get into the penalty box, and the same way Malik's concerned. And it's hard to put it all together on one piece of paper and say that's the team and that's what we want from the team, because we are going to get injuries. But if you say it to units and say this is what your units entail, and the hard part about a midfield job, you've got to protect and you've got to press. You've got to protect and you've got to press, and you've got to get in the penalty box and score goals. You choose your position. When you come into the game, you choose what position you want to play, and this is the deal. And that's what we've been saying to the players. This is the deal. If you're a midfield player, we want protection, but we also want goal. I think Zach's bought into that. I think Malik's bought into that. And certainly where the 2 senior pros are concerned, in Luke and David, I think they know exactly what we're after, and they're going to help them to no end.
Quick word on some departures that were announced today, or sort of loans away. Kobe and Josh have gone sort of locally. Christian Oxlade-Chamberlain gone further afield. What's the thinking behind that?
Just wanted. I never really to eye with Ox, and I know he's only gone on a 3-month loan and he'll be coming back, but I tried really hard. I thought the pinnacle of his game was when we went to Chesterfield away, and he bossed it in there. And I really looked at him and I held my hands up in front of the group. And I just said, I haven't been cutting him the most slack in the world. I've been really tough on Ox. And that was a response, but he never maintained it. And that was one of the things I wanted him to do, was maintain a level of performance that I was happy with as well as him. And many times when a manager is happy with a player, normally the player's quite happy. And what I mean by that is we set the standards, we set what we need from you. But we never sort of got to that consistent level of performance that I was happy with. So consequently, when Truro showed an interest, I'd already had a conversation with Ox that I was going to let him go. And Truro were the first one to bite. We had an interest from Eastbourne at the end of last season. We had a half an interest from Halifax, but that went away, it fell by the wayside. And then when Truro came in, it ticked all the boxes for Ox, and we wish him luck. Honestly, we wish him very much so good luck, and I hope he does a great job down there. The other 2 are local. Their other 2 are local with our intentions of bringing them back. They're 2 young lads. Kobe's of this world, Josh Bishop's of this world, Samson Hewitt's of this world are the future of Kidderminster Harriers. I'm talking about 2 or 3 years down the line. But because we've got this academy, as a manager, I'm delighted.
We'll go into the end of it. I'll ask you just a couple more. As we said right at the top, you've said right at the top, National League North is a division that you've not worked at before. You will have been doing your homework, no doubt, over the summer. So what are you expecting from it?
Strangely enough, myself and Macca, you don't know the paths that you lead during the time in your career, either as a player, coach, or a manager, or scouting, whichever. And we went through the division, and of the 23 grounds that we're going to visit, I'd been to 16, Mac had been to 15, in pre-season friendlies, watching games, watching players, whatever it was. So we know what we're looking at with the likes of, Radcliffe Borough, for instance. That used to be a pre-season friendly at Bolton. That used to be the curtain raiser, like we have it at Kidderminster Harriers, when you go to places like Droitwich and clubs like that. So Radcliffe Borough I've been to many, many times. But, going to a Farsley Celtic back in the day at Halifax, that used to be a pre-season friendly as well. There's loads of the grounds that we've been to And that I'm looking forward to, regardless of what people say. Oh, you don't want to be going there on a Tuesday night in November. Absolutely, I'm looking forward to going there on a Tuesday night in November. Looking forward to the hospitality that I receive as well, which I think will be few and far between. But at the same time, it's a game of football. You got four white lines that keep the ball on the field, and two goals, one at either end, that you've got to put the ball in the back of the net more than the opposition. It's as simple as it gets. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to embracing lower league mentality. I'm looking forward to one or two of the comments I'm going to receive from the supporters, which will be unrepeatable, I should imagine, on podcasts. But I look forward to these encounters, and hopefully coming out on top in most of them.
Yeah, well, I'm very lucky living in Leeds that there are a lot of local games for me. I used to live literally a 2-minute walk from Farsley Celtic, so I'm literally 3 miles away from there now, so I'll be there for that game.
Lovely.
Important though that the home form, isn't it? Because the last 2 seasons, Agbra, I love Agbra. Agbra is like one of my favourite places in the world. I think it's a special place, and it's even more special when we're winning week in, week out. And how excited are you if we can turn it into that fortress?
We Telford in pre-season, and the reason why I'm telling you that, and coming away from Agbra, I'm not coming away from Agbra. We actually ground share, if you like, with Wolverhampton Wanderers. So therefore, we ground share with ground staff.
Yeah.
And it's a lovely deal that's going on there, you know. So they're in the 23s play at Agbra. I can't even tell you what the Telford ground is, but at Telford, the Wolves women's team play there. So they lend their ground staff to your clubs, as it were. Tim, our groundsman, works in close consideration with the way Wolverhampton want the pitch, etc., etc., etc. So pre-season, they've invested quite a bit of money. And it looks an absolute carpet. We then went to Telford and played pre-season. Wow, that's another notch up. So we've gone to Telford and played Telford at the kind of football that we're going to try and play at Agbra. Now, I'm not hiding any secrets here if we can. If somebody's in your face and you have to hit the front man, you hit the front man. But the point is, I'm trying to understand that we've got 23 games minimum at Agbra. So we have to play in a style of football. One, that's going to win games of football. Two, that's going to fill the place. And they're the two criteria. If we reach that criteria, we could win promotion this year at Agbra. So we have to make it, I know you've heard it a million times, a fortress. But the fortress has to be, does it have to be hostile? No, but it has to be hostile with the ball. We have to have the ball. We have to commandeer the ball. We have to understand how to play against whoever it is. And then obviously, if we do it well enough, the supporters will just fill that place. And then it becomes a fortress. So I'm looking forward to the home games. I'm looking forward to getting something from the first game tomorrow. And then we got Radcliffe Borough and Brackley and an old captain of ours coming into town. So, yeah, we've got our challenges, shall we say, but I'm looking forward to them all.
Yeah. Can I quickly ask you about Shane Byrne then? I know it was really disappointing to see him leave, and he says there's two sides to the story, etc., etc. But from the outside looking in, it's a purely financial decision from your point of view.
No, I'm not going to even mention anything else, any other avenue. I couldn't offer him anywhere near what he wanted and what he expected, more importantly. And I'm like, whoa, Shane, listen, we've gone down a division. You already know what it looks like at this division. You've played in there most of the time for the club he's gone and signed for. He's been promoted from there many times. He knows how to get promoted from that division. So that's one of the reasons why I was offering him a decent wage. My chairman was saying I could go to the wage that he wanted, but it was a player and a half minimum. You know, I could have gotten 3 players for the wages I was going to have to give him. And that's the way I've cut my cloth. I've gone and got 2 or 3 players that are going to fit the bill with regards to where the hole that Shane left. It will be a hole because he was a good leader. He was a good captain. He was a good player. And I was disappointed when I left. Oh, sorry, when he left. But I was absolutely delighted when Luke Summerfield quickly followed and came in. And then even more delighted when David Davis signed. So the quality that we're having them 2 players, I think we've replaced Shane, but only time will tell. You know, if he wins the title with Brackley and we get relegated, then I haven't replaced him. If we win the title, and I think Brackley will be there or thereabouts, then good luck to him. That's all I'm saying. Good luck to him. But we want to finish ahead of everybody. Any one of our rivals, we want to finish ahead of.
And last one then, Phil. Again, thank you very much for doing this. Your message to the fans. I know you spoke with Wes on his podcast yesterday. It might be a repeat of that, but I don't mind at all. But what would you like to say to the fans ahead of the season?
No, I think the fans. I think personally, I never ever. It never ceases to amaze me, and I know I can talk, and I can talk about football because it's been my life for 40 odd years. But I'm really genuinely passionate about the football club and the supporters and putting smiles on people's faces from Kidderminster. I know for a fact that my budget's been cut, but I also know for a fact that Richard Lane is actually supporting me. Regardless of whether my budget's cut, he's supporting me the way he needs to, the way he wants to, the way he has to. And with the backroom staff that we've got and the players that we've brought into the football club, I just hope that we can amalgamate the two forces, and they are forces. The supporters are a massive force. I'm hoping as a team, we're going to be a massive force. If we can amalgamate the two forces together and be reckoned with, regardless of where we go, but more importantly at Agbra, then we'll have a great chance this season.
Well, Phil, many thanks for joining us on the podcast. It's great to get you on. Hopefully we can catch up again at some point in the season, and we could be talking league titles and everything else. You never know.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Phil. Thank you.